Are Locked On Falcons and Locked On Sports Atlanta here. Myself, Aaron Freeman, here with my good friend Jarvis Davis to recap this third and final preseason finale. A very impressive win for the Falcons over the Jacksonville Jaguars, 28-12. We saw a lot of impressive performances, Jarvis, with a lot of these guys getting their last real opportunity to make a case not only for the Falcons roster as well as other NFL rosters, with a lot of sort of backups, a couple of starters and key reserves sprinkled in here or there. Desmond Ridder, we'll talk about his performance, but sort of the standout was that Falcons defense. Their defensive line really kind of dominated this game, and those guys really stepped up big in a major way, correct?
Oh, no doubt about it. When you think about the guys like Derek Tangelo, who's a guy that I kind of had my eye on during training camp, he's a guy that kind of showed himself or proved himself in one-on-ones against the veteran guys, and I think that he made a really good case for, to be able to say, hey, I did all I could do to try to make this roster. But I think that's the thing that you really kind of look for, right? Those young guys stepping up and doing their things and making sure that they're doing everything they possibly can to make a team. Like I said, notice I said make a team. They might not make this team, but if they do get cut, I know other teams have pro scouts, and I think Terry Fano has made his money doing those things. And I think there's people going to have their eye on these young guys if they get cut from this squad. So I think, like, shout out to them. And I think that, you got to give a quick shout out to the edge rushers as well. I think Arnold Ebiketie, man, he was like, he may have heard me, man, talking about him or something, man. That dude was wrecking shop. You talking about when you get your defensive line and edge guys out there getting those tackle for losses, man, that means that they are absolutely, like you mentioned, whooping the other team's offensive line, and we haven't been able to say that in quite some time.
Yeah, you definitely saw that today. Ebiketie made some plays. D'Angelo Malone made some plays. Troy Anderson made some plays. Jarvis, I know that's something that
Whoa,
you've been
yes.
waiting to see.
Woo! We had a Troy Anderson sighting. Yes, he's here. He's on the squad. Yes, he's here.
So, like, they were getting after it. Tough day for EJ Perry, the Jaguars quarterback. Threw a couple of picks, got a lot of pressure up in his face. You saw Abdullah Anderson, Timmy Horn, Derek Tangelo, Nick Thurman. Like, all of these guys were really helping the Falcons control the line of scrimmage. We saw this Jaguars team go like 1 for 7 on third downs in the first half. They finished 2 of 12. It was just basically anytime they got to a third down, this Falcons pass rush, their defensive line really sort of controlled things.
And we're used to seeing the exact opposite, right? Like last year, the Falcons were the worst, probably one of the worst, if not the worst team on third down, and that's a stat that you absolutely have to look at when you're talking about whether or not a defense is good or not, or whether they're capable or not. And that's one thing they weren't capable of doing, is getting off the field on third down, whether it be third and short or whether it be third and long. And I think that the Falcons, in either situation, the Falcons defense, they were rolling, man. They were cooking, man.
Absolutely. We got to see Isaiah Oliver get his first action of the preseason. Been dealing with that knee injury that he suffered. Almost had an interception himself. Corey Ballantyne had a rough game, but then kind of helped redeem himself with an interception off of deflection. So a couple of big plays in the secondary as well for the Falcons. We'll switch sort of gears, talk about the standouts on offense. We'll talk about Desmond Ridder. We'll talk about the running backs and how they really shined. This third string offensive line helping to open up those holes for them as we continue today's conversation about this impressive preseason finale, and talk about some of the other guys that Jarvis and I think helped themselves make this roster. But before we get there, guys, let me tell you about Coffee AM, the freshest coffee that you can get. I know some of you guys may be a little bit bored on this Saturday watching the Falcons in this preseason finale with these third stringers, but Jarvis and I were very alert during this game because we certainly had our Coffee AM this afternoon. Jarvis, I know you're a big fan of the Rainforest Crunch. I'm a big fan of the Highlander grog. I drink that in favor of the Highlander, aka Falcons long snapper Liam McCullough, to get me geared up for the Falcons games. And guys, whether you're looking for those expertly crafted blends, espresso flavored coffees, or gourmet teas, you can find it all. Don't take my word for it. Just head to coffeeam.com/locked-on today and take a look at their full menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets. That's coffeeam.com/locked-on, or use the coupon code LOCKEDON15. That's LOCKEDON15 at checkout. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America. So we're talking here about the Falcons' preseason win, very impressive preseason win. A lot of young guys on the defensive side of the ball, as we talked about earlier, making their case to make not only the Falcons roster, their practice squad, but also getting on the radar of other NFL teams as we get to final cuts on Tuesday. But we also saw some impressive performances for the Falcons offense. It was kind of an up and down performance from Desmond Ridder, who got the start today. But we saw him put together a really nice drive in the first quarter, delivering on a couple of third down completions, and that was sort of capped off by the running game. We saw him put together a nice couple of drives in the second half as well before giving way to Felipe Franks in the fourth quarter. Jarvis, what were your thoughts on Desmond Ridder's performance as well as that running game really sort of smoothing things out for this Falcons team?
I think he just continues to confirm what we've seen so far, right? And that's being poised in the pocket, making good throws. And, he may make a mistake here and there. But the thing that I really like about what you really need to pay attention to as far as what from a young quarterback is how he responds when he does make those mistakes. Does he tuck his tail and go like, oh, my God, I made a mistake. He came right back down there. It was a 15-play drive, almost 9 minutes off the clock, get right in the end zone. And I think that, that's what you want to see from your young quarterback. Of course, you don't want to see too many mistakes. But when they do make mistakes, you got to say, okay, does he put it behind him or does he dwell on it? And we seen it was clear that Desmond Ridder was like, all right, I made one. I got you. I get y'all back on that one. That's exactly what he did.
Absolutely. So if you guys didn't hear, Desmond Ridder came out there, threw his first pass, not a touchdown like Matt Ryan did. It was an interception on a high throw there, had some pressure in his face, had another interception later in the game with, again, some pressure in his face, but did a nice job on a couple of other plays with pressure, avoiding pressure, had a nice throw to Anthony Firkser stepping up late in the game.
Excellent throw, by the way. Yes.
On the sidearm. Firkser went down with an injury after that play to set up. I can't remember if it was Olesen or Huntley to score at the 1 yard line. It seems like Firkser is okay, and the Falcons were mostly able to make it through this game seemingly injury-free. We'll have to check on Firkser in that regard, but talking about the Falcons running game capping off that drive, they were really able to cap off a number of drives. You saw it didn't matter who the running. Tyler Algier scored, Quadri Olesen scored, Caleb Huntley scored. A lot of impressive performances for the Falcons running back, and that also signals that this third-string offensive line, we talk about controlling the line of scrimmage for the defense, they were able to control the line of scrimmage for the offense as well to help, establish the run for this Falcon team today.
Yeah, I got to give a big shout out to my man Justin Schaefer, man, the 6th round pick out of Georgia. I know a lot of people may or may not like that pick, but I think one of the things that you kind of seen tonight this afternoon, is that the fact that the man can play. He belongs. And I think that, whether or not he was going up against guys who are going to be on an NFL roster, that doesn't really matter. He shined. He did his thing against those guys when he got the opportunity. And I think that you got to give him kudos for that, because one thing that I really like about kind of character traits that you have that Schaefer has and is really prevalent in guards, and that's what you really look for, is that got a little mean streak in him. There was one particular play where he kind of the center had kind of come over and help, and he didn't really need it. He kind of gave him a quick punch. Boom, dude went to the ground. He immediately dropped all 330 right on top of him, and that's what you want to see from your guards, man, because those guys are mean and nasty. And you talk about the phone booth reactions and having to make those quick reactions in a small space. I think that he truly showed that, and I think that the running backs, they benefited from it. And then how cool was it just to see guys on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and goal, they just line up and just run the ball in the end zone, man. That was just really cool to see.
Absolutely. We can sit here and nitpick some things about Justin Schaefer's game, but no one can question the mean streak. That dude is a nasty dude.
Yes,
he's a nasty dude. Some things that need to be rounded out of this game, but of course you do not have to light a fire under his butt to get after those defenders at all.
Jalen Mayfield. Oh, what happened? We doing a show? Yeah, I mention Jalen Mayfield on this show? Why did I do that? Sorry, Aaron, my bad.
But if you guys want to see the success of the run game, Caleb Huntley finished the day with 19 carries, 86 yards and a touchdown. Quadri Olson, 9 carries, 30 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Algier, 8 carries, 26 yards and a touchdown. So the Falcons ran the ball 41 times today for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns. We talked about this earlier, Jarvis, where like what we're seeing in the preseason, yeah, we know it's second and third stringers, whatever, but you're seeing what the identity of this Falcons offense, what they want to be. And obviously we'll see if they can carry that over into the regular season with the starters, but you're seeing that physical ground attack performance from the Falcons this preseason. We talked about some of the running backs that stood out. Who were some of the other players that stood out for you on this afternoon?
I like what I saw in Cameron Batson, man. Like, he had a really nice a throw catch over the middle, from Desmond Ridder, and I think that that's what the type of plays you look like. We actually got a chance to see Frank Darby make a play. You know, he's a lovable guy. You know, he has the personality. Like, he's a soundbite waiting to happen. But you know, hey, this is football. You want to see him make some plays on the field, and I think we saw that too. And that was a hell of a throw by Ridder, man. Like, all Frank Darby had to do was just whoosh, go and pick that bad boy right out of the air, man. And that's exactly what you want to see make a play for your quarterback. And I think that those are some of the guys that just really stood out. D'Angelo Malone too. Got to give him a quick one as well. I like what he was playing in space. You know, not only just being an edge guy coming off the edge and trying to put pressure on the quarterback, and he had some good rushes throughout the game, but just being in space and knocking the ball down and understand when you're getting your drops, knowing what's going on behind you, because that's a lot of times when you get young linebackers, they don't really necessarily pay attention to what's going on behind them. They pay attention to what's going on in front of them, but behind them, there might be a wide receiver right there running wide open, and then all you got to do is just get a feel for it, and then you might have an interception. But he was able to knock the ball down, so that's what you want to see in the young linebacker core.
Well, last thing I want to talk to you, Jarvis, about is Deion Jones, right?
Yes.
A lot of the broadcast was talking about Deion Jones getting some performances. We saw his first action of the preseason after coming back this week from injury. He also got to play alongside Nick Kwiatkowski. It was his first action of the preseason alongside guys like Isaiah Oliver that I mentioned earlier. We did see Deion Jones out there covering kicks, right? You know, like we haven't seen Deion Jones have to be able to play special teams since his rookie season when he first came into the league. And so it seems to sound like the Falcons are planning on keeping Deion Jones, have him as a reserve role. What do you sort of see for Deion Jones's future here in Atlanta?
The one thing that I thought was kind of really interesting about the way they were using him, right? Obviously, the special teams, that's one thing, but he was coming in on third downs. Like, I didn't see him in on first and second down, like it was mostly on pass situations. And I think that, $20 million guy, coming in on third and long and playing special teams, that sounds like a 5th round pick to me. You know what I mean? Like that's what you wanted, in Troy Anderson or, guys like that, D'Angelo Malone, you want those guys come in and play special teams for you and come in on third downs. But I think that that's something that I thought was very interesting. And I think that I still believe that, and I don't care if I'm wrong on this, I still believe that they are going to try to work something out to where he gets in a situation where he can be every down guy. I don't see him playing out throughout the entire season. That I don't see 17 games of Deion Jones on special teams and coming in on third down. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm with you. $20 million.
It's hard, bro. That's hard, bro. That's a hard sale.
Specialties. Yeah, that we'll see. We'll see what happens with Deion Jones. Obviously, we'll see what happens with the Falcons on Tuesday. They got to get down to the 53-man roster by Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see if the Falcons release a couple of guys early and try to stash some guys right up to the deadline so that they can try to clear waivers to bring those guys back on the practice squad. We'll see if the Falcons scour the waiver wire to get some more additional help. We've been talking to the D-line all summer long, but it seems like based off of today, maybe the Falcons don't have to feel as desperate to buoy that depth along the defensive line. We'll have you covered here, Locked On Falcons, Locked On Sports Atlanta, for the next couple of days. We'll be here all year long, postcast, breaking down the Falcons games. Instead of on Saturdays, we'll be doing it on Sundays this upcoming year. For Jarvis Davis and myself, make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Atlanta on YouTube, and you'll get the live video version. If you want to check out the audio version of this postcast, you can check out Locked On Falcons as well. Jarvis, go ahead and plug what you guys got coming up on Locked On ATL this week.
All right, A to Z with Mark Zeno, Hitting Hard with John Chucker, and of course ATL Day Ones with myself and Tanitra Batiste. Check us out. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have been rocking with us through ever since we started this thing, and we're gonna keep this bad boy rolling. Like Aaron said, every Sunday after the Falcons game, win or lose, man, we're here. So make sure y'all keep on coming back. Now you're here.
Absolutely. So, guys, that's going to do it for us here on today's postcast. Of course, you can check me out on Twitter at FalcFans, being very snarky about Felipe Franks taking over the future of this franchise, usurping Desmond Ridder. But if you want to get real football takes, go check out Locked On Falcons on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. And we'll actually be serious on that show as opposed to me on Twitter at FalcFans.
Yes, indeed, man. We definitely appreciate you all, but, make sure y'all keep on coming back. September 11th, the Saints, we back up in this thing. Aaron, man, let them know.
Absolutely. Hate week coming up.